Welcome to Have a Bible Question Live, where you'll receive a Bible answer to your Bible question. And now, let's study the Bible.
All right, here we go. We got one question come in. Jonathan Exum says, how are Christians to react when shortages and pandemics happen? You know, that's interesting because Scripture tells us, they're going to show, people would know that we are Christians by our love.
Right.
John 13:35, I believe.
I believe you are
you love
correct.
one another. That's right.
You know, and I think about that because I was reading a sermon outline by the late Franklin Camp. And he was talking about how important it is to restore the New Testament church, but we have to also restore the New Testament love that Christians had for each other.
Right.
And, you know, the easy times, there are certain times in life it's easy to love people and certain types of people that are easy to love. It's difficult in times of challenges to always allow your love to abound. And I don't know, maybe y'all don't have an issue with that, but sometimes it can be challenging for me. I left the building yesterday to get some gasoline, and y'all, let me tell you, I was not going because of hysteria. I didn't have cans trying to fill them up. I was going because literally I needed gas. My gas light was on, and I had made plans before knowing about a shortage that I was just going to leave the church building. I was going to get some gas after I got done working. And I ended up sitting in line for like 25 minutes, Troy. 25 minutes to get gas. And this guy pulls up and cuts me off right before I was in line. And like, I was wondering if I was going to run out. I was just glad I got to concrete so that if I had to push, it would be easier. And it did remind me back of the 1970s. Not that I remember it, but the pictures I've seen where people are pushing their car to the gas pumps. I was afraid that I was going to have to do that.
Was it up incline or down incline?
Well, I think it was going to be pretty level.
Yeah, that's good.
But this guy comes in pulling off after he didn't wait, and 25 minutes, and I was thinking, okay, there are the parts of me that I would like to just get out and give him a piece of my mind. But then I also reminded, I'm a representative of Jesus Christ. When I say I'm a Christian, that I'm supposed to be Christ-like. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, the question comes in, how are we supposed to act, or how do we react when shortages and pandemics happen? I think first and foremost, we've got to let love prevail.
Right.
Troy,
Amen.
What do you think?
Matthew 7:21, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So it's really difficult whenever we are faced with, that's temptation right there. It's what you're dealing with. And so whenever that happens, you just need to be able to say Matthew 7:20, Matthew 7:12, Matthew 7:12. Just did I say the wrong one? 7:21.
Yeah, that's the one you said. That's okay.
Yeah.
Matthew 7:12.
Right.
Then not. If I was still in the right spot,
Right.
Whatever you want men to do to you, do also to them, for this is the law and the prophets.
Right.
It's kind of fun. I'm watching you on my where I'm monitoring, and so your words and what I'm hearing don't match up, and so it's kind of funny for me.
It's kind of like those. You remember those old kung fu movies? Those are the best.
Yes, they are.
I'm going to get you.
Right.
Jeff?
Yeah, Romans 12 and verse 10. Of course, he's writing to Christians here, but I think it would apply because we're supposed to be good to all men. Be kindly affectioned one to another with brotherly love, in honor preferring one another. That means you let your brother go ahead of you to get gas, right?
Well, you know, there can be the idea
you wave him on. Don't wait for him to almost run over you getting past you.
Well, based upon what you're saying, though,
Right.
it would also be being concerned about other people as
Right.
much as you are about yourself. And so what you would want to do is be sharing. I think one of the things we've seen about this week is that people are really getting worried.
Yeah.
And I saw this happen even during the hurricane stuff where people were collecting, almost hoarding stuff because, well, I don't know, I better get me some more. And there were those that just, they didn't have.
Right.
And so sometimes maybe just let me think about the other person here. Right. Yes, it would be nice to have more, but and let me also say shortages, pandemics, things like this, these are opportunities for us to let our light shine.
Right.
Great evangelistic opportunities to be able to do benevolence. And I know
Right.
one of the things we've done with the church pantry here lately is to try and prep and store up some things, um, so that if a hurricane comes, we're going to be ready to be able to administer goods to other people.
Right.
So, Guyton, why does our light shine in times like this? And I think the reason being is because we we embody, or we show that verse that talks about we are a peculiar people, we're different,
Mm-hmm.
and
Right.
people see the opposite in us of what they would expect. I'm sure everybody in line behind you was probably sitting there going, "Oh man, that guy's fixing to get out, and we're going to see a fight." Instead, whenever you wave him on by, because I know that's what you did, and you smiled at him, and I said, "Come on, buddy."
I chose not to look his way, to be honest with you. As much as lieth within you, live peaceably with all men, it says. And
Amen.
so sometimes the Christian thing is to avoid the conflict.
Right.
I mean, I would love to say that
Amen.
you can always go that extra mile in it, but sometimes the best thing to do is if you just need to, just sit in your car and be quiet. And that's the Christian thing to do.
Yeah.
Blessed are the peacemakers, Matthew 5:9.
Mm-hmm. And hope he just didn't get the rest of the gas right before you got there.
I did wonder. I was sitting there. Well, this was he actually cut in the line and then went to the other pump, and then I'm behind this one pump, and this lady was getting out, and she was just taking her sweet time, and I was thinking, would you just hurry up so I can get my gas before all these other people? Because I was like fearful I was going to walk in and then be like, we're out, and then I'm like, I'm going to have to leave my truck, but that's okay. But I think every day we need to be looking for evangelistic opportunities. And that can be small things. Put shortages aside. Do you have the opportunity whenever you're able to take the trash can for your neighbor back to his house for him? Because you happen to notice that he hasn't done so. I remember I was preaching at a congregation, the first work where I was, and I had two neighbors. And the two neighbors I had I had three neighbors immediate, and all three were wonderful. Now, one was a denominational preacher across the street. The preacher before me and the preacher before him were known in that town for their arguing. I mean, it was like well known. And so I went over, and this guy's name was Keith, the new preacher for them, this denominational preacher. I talked to him, and I just told him up front, I said, I know we don't agree on doctrine. I'm happy to study that with you. I said, but it does neither one of us any good to be known for arguing. I would like to avoid that. And he and I actually became friends. And he knew I disagreed with him. And we had some good Bible discussions, and I changed his mind on some things, not on as much as I wish I could have. But then the other two neighbors, I spent time with them. And I would always invite them to services and do things. And I was told by some of our church members, you'll never get them to visit. You're going to never make any headway with them. Well, I noticed because one of the neighbors, he lived across the street, and he actually owned the house next to me too, because it used to be his mom's house. Well, I noticed he hadn't mowed the yard in a while, and that was unlike him. I didn't know what was going on. I had no touch with him. But when I was mowing my yard, I just went and mowed the yard next to me too. And then he came over there and he said, man, I want to thank you. He said, I've been down on my back, and that's why. He said, can I pay you for that? I'm like, no, don't worry about it. I just realized it hadn't been done. I was happy to help you out. All right, now let's fast forward, because I've been trying to get Bible studies. I've been trying to get them to come worship. The last Sunday before I moved away from that work, the ones that I was told would never visit, my neighbors, they came. And they actually probably did more for me in sending me away. I don't know, is that a good thing or not? But they were actually moved because they talked about, you were an outstanding neighbor to us. You truly are a Christian, was their words.
That's
and I wonder if I'd stayed there longer, if I could have ever converted them. But where does it start? It starts in the way you treat other people,
right.
Letting your love show. And I'm sure, Troy, you've seen that in the mission field, even over there in Paraguay.
Absolutely. Well, that's a great way to make contacts and to get Bible studies. And really, that's what evangelism is all about. What you're talking about there is what I see in the Apostle Paul. Whenever he was there in Corinth and he was working as a tent maker. And I imagine that he did that all the time. He probably helped people out in different ways, and that led to conversations that then led to allowing him to talk about Jesus. And so that's what we're supposed to do. Supposed to love our neighbor. And that's exactly what you were doing.
Second greatest command, Matthew chapter 22 tells us, is that we're loving our fellow man.